You know what? Let's man. Let's go. Let's go down one exit and come back. The fog is going to be too heavy. I see droplets on that rear camera already, but at least we can get a couple of shots, and then I'll just edit them together.
Okay.
You can go ahead and come on past me, and I'll follow you on out.
You want me to take this exit, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Where are we pulling into?
I can pull them back to the spot you're in.
10-4.
Well, the fog was too heavy for my liking. You know, if we're gonna do this, make this video, I want the video to be not perfect, but you know what fog is all about. Fog on lenses doesn't mix. So we're gonna sit here and we're gonna wait for the fog to burn off a little bit, and we're gonna try it again. ahead and run through those gears. I'm just kind of hanging back a little bit to get you in the shot. That lens on there is a wide angle lens, so if it looks like I'm super close to you, because that's just how it is. It's not a telephoto at all. But in the picture, it looks like you're 100 feet away.
10-4.
Well, Gary, we're back out here on the highway, and I told the folks earlier in that first segment that we did that fog and cameras don't mix too well. So we waited a little bit to get out here on the highway. So we're gonna go ahead and cruise down south. But for the people that don't know you just yet, introduce yourself and kind of tell us how you got yourself behind the steering wheel.
Yeah, no problem. My name's Gary Jones. I'm out of a little town up in Missouri called Lawson, Missouri. And I own a small trucking company. We specialize in heavy haul and oversized loads. We do pull reefers, flatbeds, and any other kind of trailers. So yeah, we go coast to coast.
Coast to coast, so you're saying you guys cover 48?
Yeah, we cover all 48 states, lower 48 states, and we do a lot of stuff in the Midwest and out on the West Coast. That's our forte.
10-4. When did you start driving?
I started driving back in '99. This is a family business. My father's been a truck driver. My grandfather. It's all I've ever known. I come out of high school at a young age and bought a truck and went to work.
So with that being said, how many miles do you think you have under your belt?
Man, I would say I'm at least, at this point, 3 million.
Not too shabby.
I've been trucking 26 years this year. And like I said, I started out in a pickup truck with a gooseneck trailer. And by the time I was 21, I was 18 then. By the time I was 21, I had my first big truck. By the time I was 23, I had 5. Here we are today.
What's been the most important lesson that you've learned in trucking in those years that you've been out here?
I would say the most important lesson I've learned is respect. And you always be open to criticism and suggestions from other drivers. I've been out here a long time. And I still, to this day, if a man walks up to me and gives me a suggestion on how to tie something down, hell, he may have been doing it for 20 years just hauling that same piece of equipment, so I listen. And, you got to have respect. You got to take pride in yourself and your equipment out here.
What's been some of the best times in trucking for you?
Man, I would say some of the best times in trucking is being able to run up and down the road with my dad. He drives a truck. A lot of guys don't get to experience that. He's still trucking today. He's 65 years old. And I'd say the best part of trucking is being able to grab a couple of loads and ride up and down the interstate with my pops.
Yes, sir, absolutely. What type of person does it take to do this job?
It takes a strong person, an independent person. You can't be dependent on other people. You have to have a strong mindset, because we do stay out here for long periods of time, and we are away from home. We're away from the people we love and the people we cherish. So, with that being said, you got to have a strong willpower to want to do this. A lot of guys aren't cut out for it. This is definitely not a job, it's a lifestyle.
So with trucking being a lifestyle, and with the number of years that you've been out here, and starting out with one truck and buying more and things like that, have you had any regrets?
No, no regrets in trucking. You know, the biggest regret I would say is just missing the time with your family. You know, you miss a lot of birthdays, you miss a lot of softball practices and baseball games and football, and you know, the only regret I have is missing the time with my close family that I love.
Yeah, I hear you. Some of that time you can't get back, you know, but the sacrifices that you guys make, it's greatly appreciated.
A lot of times it goes unnoticed, you know, and everybody out here today needs to thank a trucker, because whether they're driving a box truck or one of these big old Peterbilts, it doesn't matter. The world wouldn't turn without us. So
Yeah, absolutely. So with all the freight that you've hauled, has it mostly been open deck type of stuff?
no, I do a little bit of everything. I've done reefer work, and I mean a lot of open deck. I would say 90% of it's open deck, but I've done dry van and reefer freight as well. Some cattle hauling.
So with that being said, what's been the worst load that you've ever pulled?
Well, me and my best bud Jacob Bonham took some loads out of Texas about a year and a half ago, and they went to North Carolina, and we were 155,000 pounds, 17 foot tall, 16 foot wide, and 115 foot long, and they were the loads from hell. I'm here to tell you, it took us about 10 days, 12 days to get them there, and it was, man, it tried every bit of our ability to drive these trucks up and down the road. We went down roads that you should have never put trucks that size down, and it was an experience. It was the one that sticks out the most to me, and you definitely need a good support system and, you know, good pilot cars and everything if you're going to get through a situation like that.
You probably won't forget those memories anytime soon when it comes to those loads. But what's a load that you'll never pull again?
You know, I dabbled a little bit in hauling cows, and it wasn't for me. That's the best way to put it. It definitely takes a rare type of fellow who wants to ride around with cows on their boots, and I'm not the one. So I'd have to pass on doing the cow hauling thing again.
Let's talk about the truck. I got some other questions, but let's talk about the truck, the year, the engine, drivetrain, all them things that a guy would want to know about the truck starting off. And then we'll get a little deeper into it.
Okay. So this is a 1999 Peterbilt 379. It's 360-inch wheelbase. I have a 144-inch sleeper on it, and it has an 18-speed and 600 horsepower N14 Cummins.
Looking at it, it looks really great going down the road. Let's talk about some of the custom parts and things that you have on there, starting from the front of the truck going to the back.
All right, yeah. So a lot of people know this truck. This is formerly Excessive Behavior. It was black and white, had flames, and it was well known in the show industry. And I tore it down 2 years ago, and we started over. So we've outfitted it with Talladega fiberglass front fender, front bumper. I've got truck's accessories, sun visor, lighting, all my lighting's truck's accessories. I run Dynaflex stacks out of the West Coast. And all my fenders are Talladega fiberglass. All my paint work, everything was done at Carpenter Customs up there in Ohio. And yeah, hell, I got an aluminum fifth wheel on the back. I've got the new deck plate made by Merritt that sits on top of the frame and runs down. It's pretty slick.
And what do you have for a trailer?
So today I'm pulling a 2018 Manic 53-foot flatbed, aluminum steel combo, and of course it's tricked out with Talladega fiberglass all over it. It has chicken lights all over it. You know the deal. We got to look right for flight when we're representing.
Yes, sir. What's your favorite thing about the truck now that you've redone it? What do you like the most?
My favorite thing about this truck is the sleeper, the comfort, and it's not about being gone. You know, a lot of people come up to me and they say, man, you must never go home. And I say, no, sir, that's not it. I have this truck because when I am gone, I like to be comfortable. It's not about being gone for months on end. It's just about the comfort of having a shower and being able to cook eggs in the morning and get your day started correctly. It is a healthier lifestyle.
With being out on the road and the experience that you have and the stuff that you pull, what's one of the things that you recommend every driver have on the truck with them?
A Rand McNally map book. Don't depend on your cell phone and your electronic devices. I think if you're a truck driver, I think you should know how and learn how to read a map and carry one in the truck with you at all times.
Well, I wasn't expecting that answer. That goes back to the days of goes back as far as maps were a thing. But most people, let me rephrase that. Some of the generation now will rely on the GPS or the phone, like you said, and the map is an afterthought. Why has that been so essential for you?
I feel it's important because we see every day on the news, on social media, trucks that are lost or trucks that have been put in situations they shouldn't be put in because they're following electronic devices. And I don't care if it's a truck GPS, if it's made for a truck, you should be able to read a map. You should be able to look at the map. When you get a load, you should look at the map and see where you're going. I call my customers, I look at the map, I make sure on how I'm going to get my truck and trailer in there. But I also operate a lot bigger truck than most, so I don't just wing it, because that gets you in situations that make you TikTok famous for the wrong reasons. Come on.
Yeah, I hear you. So talking about the freight and things like that, and being out here on the road, describe your support system. Who's doing paperwork, billing, this and that and the other. Who else do you got there in the company?
I'm a small company out of Missouri there, and my sister runs my office. She handles all the billing. She handles all of the day-to-day calls. I do all of the loading of trucks and scheduling of trucks. That's all on me. So she just runs the paperwork side. My wife is a big part of the company. She's been there since the beginning. She drives one of the trucks as well, and yeah, it's a big support system. My family, my friends, everybody supports what I do, and they all help out. And I believe it takes that to be successful. It's not one person. It's not just me. It's a group of us. My sister, she's my ride or die. She handles everything. We've been in business since the day I opened my company. She handles all that day-to-day stuff and keeps us legal for DOT audits and all that good stuff. And the rest I handle.
All right, I'm going to throw a completely different question at you. And some of my questions, they are not following the typical train of thought. And also a little bit later, I asked the YouTube audience what they would want to ask you. And so we'll get into those questions as well. But right now, what's your claim to fame?
Oh, my claim to fame would be show trucks, I would have to say. I came on the scene, 15 years ago and started. I've always had cool trucks, custom trucks and cars growing up, and I would have to say I've made a pretty good name for myself throughout the country for having nice trucks and doing a good job out here in the industry.
Yes, sir. I'd have to agree. The stuff that you bring to the shows, or just the stuff that you do out there on the highway, you're always looking good doing it, looking cool on the stool.
We're definitely trying.
So a question that I don't get to ask very often is, what type of charitable things have you done with your business or with your truck? Some guys have been able to put their trucks in, Christmas festivals or things like that, or parades, or Make-A-Wish Foundation, things like that, and giving kids their Make-A-Wish ride and things like that. What have you been able to do?
I'm big on children's physical education, programs for schools, and my local high school there, Lawson High School. I donate to their softball team. I donate to their football team. I take 2 trucks every year up to the local elementary school for career on wheels, and we go up to the school and we set the trucks up and we show the kids kind of what we do and explain to them how everything works, and just show them that this is an avenue for a good way of making a living. And yeah, we try to do what we can. I'm big for the kids, man. At the show is the same thing. If the show is benefiting a good cause, you can most likely find me there.
Well, that's cool.
I hear recently, within the last 2 weeks, I was at home and the high school sent me this year's football cap with a thank you card that said, from the local high school principal, that said they appreciate everything we do, and he knows me personally from going to school there. And he said that some of the kids bring up my trucks and custom trucks and cars and stuff, and he said that it's been a great inspiration to all the kids around town to show them that, you know, you can come from nothing and have whatever you want in life. You just have to put in the work, set your mind, set your goals, and don't stop till you get there.
Oh, that's pretty cool, man. You know, people talk about that old driver shortage and whatnot. I mean, that's one way to start. With a person very young in life, allow them to see something. And you never know nowadays what sort of impression we leave upon people. But that's definitely a good thing that you've done there.
I think it is. I think it's important. I think it's important when the kids come to the shows to let them get up in your truck. You know, some people don't let the kids get in their truck, and I understand these are nice and expensive trucks, but I feel the total opposite. If a kid wants to get up in there, you let them get up in there, and those are the memories that can't be replaced. Those are the ones you hold on to for the rest of your life. I remember sitting in trucks when I was a young man with my father, and, you know, they were very important moments in my life. Didn't seem like it at the time, but they were. So, you know, it's important to carry on the tradition for the industry and to show the kids the correct way to do it, because a lot of these kids that are trucking these days, and I call them kids, but they're just young adults, and a lot of them come from the inner city. There's nothing wrong with that. They just weren't raised in trucking, you know, so you try to keep it, you know, level. You try to keep that old school fundamentals in the industry when you're teaching it to these young guys.
So Gary, when it comes to getting work and whatnot, what are some of the resources that you use to get work?
I use social media a lot, and people probably don't realize it, but I probably get 60% of my work off of social media. So, you know, that's a very good tool for your business if you use it properly. We use a couple load boards, not very many because I have direct customers, but we do use them every once in a while when we need to fill in a spot. But other than that, man, you have to keep good connections, you have to keep good relationships, and you have to do a good job. And once that's been done and you've set precedents on how you're going to do business, people talk about it. And as long as you're doing good things, they'll keep calling and you'll stay busy. You have to be willing to say no to cheap freight. And a lot of these guys are willing to haul cheap freight just because they make $1 because there's nothing else to haul. And if you're willing to haul it, that's part of the problem. You have to be willing to say no to cheap freight. And the guys that won't do that, that's why we're all fighting for the $2 a mile freight right now when it should be $5. So.
Yeah, I hear you there. So when it comes to keeping up with the industry, you know, things change in trucking and whatnot, what educational sources do you use?
You know, I've been a member of the OOIDA, that's the Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association, for many years. They have a website, they put out a newsletter bi-monthly, and I use that tremendously to keep up on all the latest regulations. If I have questions, they have a support team you can call and ask questions about the different things that are happening in the industry, and I lean on OOIDA for a lot of information for that. The FMCSA sends out newsletters, you know, to all owners of carriers and stuff like that as well, but the most beneficial would definitely be Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association.
When it comes to balance, how do you balance your work in, you know, regular life? Got any tricks going on there that you've come to find that work out well for you?
It's a very hard balancing act to do that. And, all I can say is you have to keep your priorities straight in life, and your family always comes first, So as much as a lot of guys see me working all the time, but at the end of the day, family comes first. And when they call and they lean on you and they need you, work has to stop for a minute. You got to keep your priorities straight. And I do that personally by keeping in touch with everybody. Technology is a great thing these days that they didn't have when I was a kid. When I was a kid, you waited on Dad to call you from a payphone. These days, you got FaceTime. So, you can go in and I can FaceTime, or they can put the camera on and I can watch music events or whatever the kids are doing at school, So, I think that's the best.
Other than big rig videos, what other trucking content do you watch?
I like to stay up to date with N14 Magazine, Gear Jammer, all the trucking industry magazines. I'm pretty good friends with them, and I like to stay up to date because they always have interesting stuff going on, and they can keep you in the loop on the latest and greatest, whether that be products for your truck or whatever that might be. We're always watching big rig videos and all the different ones out there, and there's a few of you guys out there, but there's not many of them that are as well known as the ones I've mentioned.
When it comes to some of the other trucking YouTubers, have you found yourself looking at any of those guys?
I really haven't. There's Asian Maya. I do watch him quite a bit, and he's actually pretty informative on a lot of the stuff going on in the industry, whether that be whatever's happening today, so to speak. Other than that, no, I really haven't. I probably should a little more.
Nothing wrong with that at all. Does your truck, does it have a name?
It does. This is Easy Money.
I mean, it might be a no-brainer on why it's called Easy Money, but why'd you decide to name it that?
I found that in this industry, it's easy money as long as you do a good job.
Tell you what, that's the easiest answer ever. Makes sense, though.
Most all of my trucks are named after money. Well, all of them are. Every truck that I have is referenced into money in somehow.
So I'd imagine you like money, right?
Yeah, just a little bit.
There's, I think it's the movie Idiocracy, where one of the actors or one of the characters is like, I like money.
That's right.
Well, the CB radio is sounding real good. What do you run for a radio in there?
I run a Connex 3400 HP.
Oh, okay. And do you have a CB handle that you use?
They just call me Junior, JR. My dad's Senior. We both have the same name, so on the radio they call him Senior and I'm Junior.
So Gary, we done spun around and we're headed back north on 75, back toward the Chrome Shop. A question that I want to ask you is one of those questions that some people may have to think about just to get it right, but at the same time it's one of those honest answers. But what do you want other truckers to know about you? What's your real story?
I think what I would like to be known for the most is just respect and, standing for what I believe in and always being there for everybody, whether they be friends or not, in the industry, and helping our industry grow. And I just want to be known as a positive part of the trucking industry. I'm very, very family oriented. I care a lot about my family. They mean the world. There's a lot of stuff I enjoy doing that a lot of people don't know about me. I collect guns. A lot of people don't know that. I collect cars. There's a lot of stuff people don't know about you personally because all they see is the trucks and you working all the time. But there's a lot of stuff I enjoy doing on my off time. And working on trucks and riding motorcycles and, those type of things are stuff I enjoy doing.
Well, that's cool. Go ahead and rattle off some of those things for the folks that ride motorcycles or collect guns will probably resonate with him.
Well, you know, a lot of people don't know that kind of stuff about you. I've got quite a big collection of guns, and yeah. So, you know, I also collect DCP toy trucks. So I have a whole collection of all my friends and people that aren't my friends, their trucks, and yeah, I collect those at home as well. I'm like a big kid.
Right on. What's your favorite gun in your collection?
My wife got me a Tiger. It's like Tiger Wood 1911. It's a mini 1911. It's a pretty slick ride. I like it a lot. You can put it in your pocket.
So that's like a really small gun then, eh? I mean, that's like a dumb statement for me to say, but you said it's a really cool ride, but I want to make sure we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, I apologize. Yeah, no, it's a really cool pistol. It is, you know, a 1911 is generally a big gun, and she had purchased me one they call a mini. It's about half the size, but it's still the same caliber, 45.
Oh, okay, cool. Cars. What's your favorite car in your collection?
My favorite car in my collection currently is I have a 2018 Cadillac CTSV supercharged, and it's flamed like my truck's excessive behavior 1 and 2, and it's all airbrushed. That's my nicest ride, I think, or not my nicest, but my favorite for sure. It's fast. You better hold on tight. It's a quick grocery getter.
I tell you what, I wouldn't mind having one of those wagons, a CTSV wagon.
Oh man, they're nice rides, I'm telling you. I had a Corvette, a C8 Corvette, and I had it for 4 years, and I traded it in and bought that CTSV. Best thing I ever did. Twice the car.
Favorite DCP toy truck that you have in your collection?
Mr. Troy Huddleston's, before he passed away. I got one from him one night at Large Cars and Guitars, and he personally signed it, him and his wife, and he passed away 4 months later. So, yeah, that's definitely the one that stands out the most to me.
Yeah, for sure. Now, what version of the truck was it? Because I've never seen it. I didn't know that he had models made.
Oh, see, I have the whole collection from when Troy had worked there at Roadworks, and the ones that I have there, the one that he signed for me is Night Moves.
Okay, so he didn't have any of his Freightliners built then?
No, it's just his Roadworks trucks. Lucky 13, Night Moves, and I can't remember what he called that other one.
Oh, okay.
So I also have 2 little brothers that are 5 and 6, and they're big in the trucking world, and what I mean by that is my father drives trucks, I do, and they collect trucks, and they're big Tony Justice fans, and yeah, they're going to be the next guys out here pushing these trucks up and down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to meet them at the Large Cars and Guitars truck show, and they got to be on camera. I think they might be partial to this video once we get it all done and posted on the internet there, right?
I think you're right. They be wearing old Tony Justice's videos out. My stepmom and my father, they both look at me and they're like, we know every word to every Tony Justice song. Tell him to write new ones. Look at all them damn Harleys. You could drop that trailer at my house.
Well, as fast as he's going, he's going to lose 1 or 2 of them. Speaking of Harleys, you mentioned that that's one of the other hobbies. So, favorite motorcycle to ride?
I have a 2010 Street Glide that I really enjoy. It's got a kick-ass stereo system on it. It rocks. It's Viper red, matches my trucks.
Very cool. Today's Christmas Eve, so Merry Christmas to you and everybody else. But yesterday, the 23rd, happened to see you there at the Chrome Shop. Didn't expect to see you there. So we cooked up the idea to do this video today, and I decided to post on the YouTube community channel there. Give some of the viewers the opportunity to ask you questions. So I'm going to go down the list of questions that some of the folks left. So hopefully you're ready to answer those questions. And the first one will be from the Show Trucks channel. That's William Sieben. He's over there in the Netherlands. And he says, we're always talking about the good old days. What has become better in the trucking industry over the years?
Well, I would have to say over the years, the reliability of the actual trucks and the technology with the fuel mileage and things of that nature have definitely made it more comfortable for drivers to be out here on the road.
With that being said, what's some of the features that you really love in the sleeper that you have?
I really enjoy in my sleeper having a shower. That's my favorite part, is getting up in the morning and having a hot shower, or of an evening when your back hurts, you get done loading or chaining, tarping in the rain. Most guys got to get in their truck all dirty and drive to the truck stop to get a bath, and I can get in the shower and leave completely fresh.
How do you keep the good paying loads consistent with a bad trucking market right now?
Well, that's obvious. It's quality of your job. I mean, you have to keep the quality up there. You got to keep that level consistent to keep your customers happy, so that they continually call you and they don't go for the cheaper guy. I am definitely not the cheapest guy on the highway to haul freight, but I'm definitely one of the best. And my customers know that, they appreciate it, and they're not afraid to pay for it.
Well, there you go. And there's nothing wrong with being proud in that statement.
How I keep the consistent freight is keeping in touch with the people that constantly give it to you and keeping that relationship fresh and open. You have to take the time to visit with your customers. You have to take the time to acknowledge the things they've got going on in their business. And once you do that, you'll build a relationship with them that can't be touched by any other carrier.
Yeah, that's a good point. Give an example of that. So you pick up the phone, give them a call, you send something in the mail. What do you do?
No, I give them a call. I try to touch base with every customer I have. You know, I have 3 or 4 really good customers that I do a lot of business with, and I call them once a week. And even if I don't need to, we talk and I visit with them. And they may tell me about them having the worst week of their life, and I just listen and I give them my advice on that, and we move on. And then they may call, and it may be strictly business. Hey, I got 25 loads, let's handle this. You know, it varies from time to time, but you have to show an interest and you have to acknowledge what they have going on. And if you do so, they'll reciprocate with business, ultimately.
Well, that's a very good point. The question is, where does he hide for his 10-hour break to avoid getting hit in the truck stops?
So with having a truck this size, you learn not to park in truck stops, to be real honest with you. That's a last ditch effort to find a place. If it's a truck stop, normally you'll catch me in parking lots or spots that I know of over the years where I know it's safe. I have a shower, I have food, I have everything on board, so I don't need the amenities of a truck stop, so I try to stay out of them. But if I'm forced to go to a truck stop, I try to park along a curb. Whether it's no parking or not, I always try to park along a curb. I can't park in a normal spot. I stick out 20 foot past the hood of a regular truck.
What is it about driving trucks that keeps you doing it?
The adventure, not knowing what tomorrow will bring. I like and enjoy getting up every morning at a different location. You never know what you're going to do, what you're going to haul, where you're going to head. I just like meeting new people and the adventures that come along with it. You know, earlier you mentioned how we stay successful in the trucking industry. It's surround yourself by other successful people. I want to mention that, and I didn't earlier, and I want to mention that. You know, I have a close-knit group of friends in my circle, and we all own small trucking companies, and we all help each other out, you know. I may give them loads, they may give me loads, but you have to surround yourself by likewise minded and successful people.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of folks will recognize this next statement, and that's by iron. Iron itself is sharpened. So if you want to be sharp, if you want to, be on top and, benefit and learn, you got to be around the same people, just like what you said. So there's no disagreeing with what you said there.
No, I have a good friend, Jacob Bonham, Peterbilt. Everybody knows who he is. And same thing, man. We speak on the daily, and it's always positive. Always has to do with the trucking industry, and we always try to think of ways that we could possibly affect the industry. Whether that be new truck drivers coming into the industry, whether that be we put posts up that are inspirational, that help them in their day-to-day, battles that are out here, and whatever that might be, just trying to do our part to help the industry.
Yes, sir. All right, next question. Do you run all 48 states? And if so, how long are you home due to the size of your rig?
So I do run all 48 states, and I have this size of a truck for comfortability, not to stay gone. So I will stay gone, but I don't necessarily stay gone for long periods of time. I may be gone a week and then go home for 3 or 4 days. I may be gone 2 weeks and go home for 3 or 4 days. It just varies on the work.
So another question is, how is it to drive your truck in the big cities?
Man, to be honest with you, it's not bad as long as you stay on the main roads in the big cities. I just recently took this truck. It's a 360 wheelbase. I took it to Newark, New Jersey with a 53-foot trailer, and it was a nightmare. I'm not going to lie. My advice to anybody with this big a truck is stay on the big road. And we are forced to get off of them sometimes, and you just have to maneuver and juggle and do whatever it takes to get through there.
So what performance upgrades do you have on the truck?
Well, I have a PDI Performance Turbo. I've got a PDI Performance computer, program in it. And like I said, it's an N14. I run the fast fuel systems on all my trucks, which is the water-air separator system. And I tell you, that makes a huge difference on throttle response and fuel economy.
He also wanted to know about the sleeper, so maybe if you don't mind, once we get parked back at the chrome shop, we can do a little tour of a quick outside look at the truck. We've been looking at it for a while, but also a tour of the inside if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem at all.
All right, this next fella had a couple of questions. We'll start with how much does your truck cost?
To buy and build this truck the way it's sitting right now in the state it's in, about $150,000.
How do you feel about aero trucks?
I have a few aero trucks in my fleet. I think that all trucks have a place in the industry, and I think that if you're going to use it in a general application, whether that be to pull a dry van or do repetitive work in the city, I think they're great. And I think that even if you have to drive them over the road, I have a few that I have guys in over the road. For fuel economy and driver comfortability, they are where it's at. It's definitely part of the future, and guys are going to have to get used to it.
Some of those aero trucks have been customized and made to look good. There's a couple that we can think of right off the bat that the Berries did, and the Selkies up there in Montana did the same, and there's a lot more. But those two come to mind right away when the first aero trucks came out. We all were like, what in the world? And then give it a couple months, half a year, and then they weren't looking so bad after being customized.
That's right, 100%. Remember Curb Sniffer? I think Davis Brothers built that one.
Yes, sir. Another question from the same person. They wanted to know about electric trucks. Are electric trucks good?
I have no input on that because I've never dealt with them. We're not far enough along the United States to give any kind of answer to that. I can't myself anyway. I'm sure someone could, but...
You also wanted to know about your biggest regret, but we've talked about that a little bit. The next question would be, who taught you to drive?
My father taught me to drive, Gary Jones Sr.
And with that being said, his next question was, did you go to a CDL school? So I guess the CDL school was old Pops there, right?
That's right. I got my CDL back before all that stuff. Nowadays, I think they make you attend one, but no, I did not attend one. I showed up to the CDL class with a fully loaded truck and trailer loaded for California. And that woman said, well, what are you going to do if you don't pass the license test? I said, I'm going to go to California again like I did last week.
That's awesome.
Those times were different back then, you know what I mean? And it ain't the same as it was, so you can't get away with that stuff.
Yeah, heck yeah. Is it hard to pull triples, as in triple trailers?
You know, I haven't never pulled triples as far as like box trailers. I've done heavy haul setups that have had 3 pieces back there turning, and it's definitely a chore, and you got to pay attention to what you're doing because you're, 120, 115 foot long. But it's definitely, it's no different than pulling doubles or a single. I mean, it just depends on where you're going and where you're trying to put it.
The next question is an interesting one. The fellow wants to know, do the owner-operators put up with the brokers demanding downloading tracking apps so they can track you and the load?
So some brokers do actually ask you to do that, absolutely, here, and it's happening more often than not lately. So yes, they have an app on your phone called Truckers Tools. You download the app and multiple brokers use it, and they put your load on there and they track you through your cell phone.
Interesting.
Something that's becoming more common, actually. Like 5 years ago, I would say, every once in a while. But nowadays, they do it all the time, actually.
How do you feel about it?
I was mixed emotions on it at first. I didn't kind of like how they tracked you, and then, my big customers that I use nowadays, that's what they do, the same thing. And I've gotten used to it. At the end of the day, the customer just wants to know where their product is and wants to make sure it's safe. They're not trying to, babysit you or anything like that. So at the end of the day, for the sake of the business, track me. I don't mind. I'm not doing anything wrong.
My wheels got turning, completely different topic. But a lot of guys are like, hey, I'm coming to Florida. I want to get a video and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know where guys are. Once they hit the state line, there might be 3.5 hours to get down here this way or whatever. But could a fellow like myself use that? I mean, there's all sorts of stuff like Google Maps and all that kind of stuff. But can any person use that to track, trucks and things like that?
No. You have to. I think you have to be a business.
That answers that then.
I tell you, an app that I use a lot out here on the road, because I do a lot of truck shows, and that's the Truck Show app. Isn't that yours?
Or the Truck Show list?
Yeah, the Truck Show list on Facebook. I use that all the time.
All right, what do you use it for?
To find out where the next show is, in case I'm missing one. I mean, I know where all the major ones are, but it's been very helpful the last year to look on there and see the smaller ones that I forget or don't know about.
Well, all right, people. Shameless plug by Mr. Gary Jones himself. And actually, I'm going to put the segment out here right away for all of the shows that have updated their 2025 show dates. Go ahead and get on the truckshowlist.com and submit, the new dates so the list could be updated. We got a couple days before we enter 2025, but and then there's a couple of shows happening, in January and things like that. But we definitely want to get all of the shows updated here pretty soon. So if you run a show, go ahead and update that yourself on the truckshowlist.com.
And make sure you do. We follow that, and if you don't tell us about it, we can't show up.
Yeah, well, you heard it right there. You guys want to show up. And that was the whole purpose of doing that list, because after a while, all of the shows, they get kind of, mushed together in terms of which one is where and when is it happening. And so I felt that somebody needed to, make something. And I'm like, you know what? I'll do it. So I sat down and built that website from scratch. And I'm still continuing to update it and make changes and improvements. But I'm glad to hear, a person like yourself using it that way to find, new shows. But at the same time, all the organizers, they want to get new owner operators and new folks coming to the show. So it's mutually beneficial, I would think.
Oh, absolutely. You've done a great job with it.
Well, thank you, sir. Going back to these questions, what does the owner have to do to deal with the 65-foot max length laws?
We don't have 65-foot max length laws anymore.
All right, well, that takes care of that then. But Just so the folks that may not be familiar with that, what was that?
Well, hell, it's been a long time, but 65, it was 65 foot. You couldn't be over 65 foot in a combination. I mean, hell, it's been years that's been passed. Hell, I think right now I'm bumper to bumper 88 foot. In Oklahoma right now, I need an escort to ride around empty.
That's awesome.
I didn't think that through too much when I was stretching it.
Well, actually, it's not awesome because it's an inconvenience. So, do you find yourself trying to skirt around Oklahoma if you can?
No, they usually don't mess with me. They really don't. If you get oversized, that's when they mess with me. When I put the signs on, then they mess with my length.
Yeah, I hear you. One more question as we line up here for State Road 44, the Chrome Shop exit. Looking down here, Mr. Jacob Bonham, Hayer Maid, wants to know who is your biggest inspiration and what motivates you to do what you do?
My biggest inspiration is 100% my father, and what motivates me to do what I do is seeing people like Mr. Jacob Bonham be successful with the help and working together with great people like himself and other people in our tight circle. And that's what motivates me to do it, is to watch a guy come from nothing and start his business and have one truck, and you know, the sky's the limit. He could have 5 this year if that's what he wanted, because we've done very well. And that's what motivates me, is to see my friends do as well as I'm doing.
Well, I tell you what, there's nothing better than, you know, being able to look back at what you've done year by year and see improvements, you know, learn from, you know, different situations and things like that. And, you know, it's been great being able to take this time. And this is not very often that I have the time, or a, you know, owner operator or a driver has the time to do a video like this. So, you know, stars aligned, and guys want to know all the time, hey, well, how do I get a video made? You know, I said, you got to be in the right place at the right time. I can never guarantee it unless it's completely scheduled, but I'm glad that we had the time to get out on the highway and had the time to go through a list of questions. So thanks for doing that.
Absolutely, man. It's been an honor, and it's been one of the checklist things that's on my bucket list, was to be in one of your videos, man. I've watched them since you started them, and I enjoy the content, and I'm just proud to be a part of it, man. Thank you for letting me be a part of it with you.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to slide into the Chrome Shop here, and we'll check out the rest of the truck.
All right, let's do it. What kind of car that was, but he had to go.
I know, it's a BMW something or other.
Looked expensive.
Yeah. You know, all these exotic cars and whatnot, they all start to look the same after a while. There used to be where you knew exactly what it was, you know, but the new Corvettes look like just like that thing that just came past.
It did look like one. I thought it was a damn Ferrari or something, Lamborghini.
Gary, I'm really taking advantage of the fact that you have some extra time here in Florida, and the fact that this is home base for me, and we can really take another good look at the truck. And there are some things that I really, wanted to take a closer look at. And one of the things was the size of your front steer tire. Tell us about the size of the tire.
These are 315/80 22.5 steers.
Okay.
And they're rated for more weight, and they have an 11-inch wheel. Well, I believe this is an 11-inch wheel, and they stick out further. And with that being said, you can see these fenders stick out further than my bumper. These are 359 fenders, and they're about 1.25 inches wider, and they'll tuck my 315 tires. Otherwise, the fender sits on top of the tire, usually with about that much tire sticking out, throwing mud all over everything.
Yeah, for sure. And most heavy haul guys will understand what that is right away. But for your setup, that's your preference?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. And you again, for the non-heavy haul people, you can get away with a standard size tire, but is your axle a different spec?
My axle is a 20,000 pound axle.
Okay. Whereas a standard axle
Standard's usually 12 to 14.
Okay. So there you go. So that's why the combination of the tire and axle is that way. This bug shield up here, is this one of the newer bug shields that's been floating around the internet?
That's a Dane Nelson original.
Okay.
I'm very impressed with his work, and I have one on every truck I own.
Okay.
I think he is bringing old school cool back with a lot of products.
Can I get one of these for the Magnum?
Yeah, I think he can make something.
I know, right? That would look funny. No, that looks really good. I've seen a lot of guys, putting those on their trucks and everything.
It's really coming back. I've noticed it in the last year.
Yeah, that's cool. Let's take a look at this breather accessory right here. This also caught my eye. Tell me about this.
So I had these made out in California out west, and they're just pads that I had made to accent the color of the truck just to be a little different. So I had them made, they Velcro on the back, and they literally just stick on, and another leather ring on the top, just to give it a little bit of it's a different touch that other people don't have.
That's a nice touch.
I appreciate it.
Do you remember the fella's name to give him a plug? Or?
Yeah, that is Sonora Brothers Upholstery in Fontana, California.
Okay. All right. Well, now y'all know who to call if you like that sort of thing. And if the folks start getting an inundation of phone calls, now they know where they came from.
And they'll also make you the fender pads. You see on the bottom of the drop fenders in the back. I don't have them on this truck, but they're on my other one, the quilted pads.
Okay.
That they also make those. You'll see them on trucks.
All right. Well, let's walk that way. And also, right on cue, what do you got in that box that just ramped up right there?
That is my diesel Onan generator.
Okay.
And it ramps up when it takes on a load from inside the truck. So obviously my heater or something kicked on inside.
Right on. Cool. Different from an APU that guys run?
No, it's basically the same thing.
Okay.
It is. It's basically the same thing.
Okay. All right. Cool. So before, when we were going down the road, we really couldn't take a look at the deck plate that you're talking about, but here we can see that custom deck plate.
And it goes
all the way back.
All the way back, and also follows the curve of the frame in the back. They did a great job. What are you doing? And this guy here, he's the mascot of the truck. That's Scooter.
Who's this? Hey, buddy.
That's Scooter. He's on the trailer.
Yeah, he wasn't riding back there earlier.
No.
I don't think you'd get very far if that was going on. Now, let's go further back here.
All right.
Nice Talladega plug there.
Yeah, Talladega. I run Talladega fiberglass on everything. Trucks, trailers.
Yeah.
I really care for their product.
How does their fenders and things hold up compared to other fenders that you may have run?
I feel like Talladega's fender is more for the working class. And what I mean by that is they're both going to break if you run into something. Okay. But the difference is I can buy a set of theirs for $1,400 and a set of the competitors for $3,200. So I just feel like it's more of a working class product. I think that the quality is the same and they look the same, but I think that to replace it and in the working environment, it's definitely more feasible to run their products than other competitors.
Yeah. Shall we say cost effective?
Yeah.
All right. SPB, what does that stand for? I've always wanted to know.
So that is the name of our company, and it is Sweetie, Parker, and BB. Me and my wife don't have no kids, we have dogs. And those are our dogs we had at the time when we started the company years ago.
I would have never guessed in a million years if somebody would have said, hey, what's the name of Gary's trucking company and what does it mean?
Yeah, Sweetie, Parker, and BB. And since then, all of our dogs have initials SP or B. So Scooter is the new S because Sweetie has since passed. So, you know, we started our business many years ago, so the dogs didn't hang in there.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. All right, that's awesome. I'm glad that I asked that. That's pretty cool. There are some folks that name their companies after their kids and things like that, but that's cool. So can we get a look inside of the truck?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, before I hop in here, let's talk about these door panels.
That is Easy Pete Interior out of Lamar, Iowa. Tim and Trish, they do a great job. They did most of the interior in this truck as far as the cab goes. The sleeper you'll see when you get in, I have been recently redoing myself for Louisville. That's what I've been doing down here this week is reupholstering all the walls. So all of the red suede is new that I've done myself. I like to do a lot of the work myself, if at all possible.
Why?
You know, a lot of guys, I like to take pride in the work myself.
Okay. Earlier this morning, you had some lighting on in here.
Yeah, so this is also from Easy Pete Interior, and that's my logo, and it lights up.
Okay.
And these are Truck's new lights, and they're all push button, and they change, I think it's 7 different colors.
Well, there you go.
And it's pretty slick.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it definitely lights up the night.
I gotta try this here.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that button changes the color. Yep.
Do they make this for the Magnum? I gotta get some truck stuff.
You gotta get some cool stuff.
The Magnum sitting up there, you can barely see it. All right, tell me about the dash here.
So my dash, I did myself. Again, I try to do everything myself. I painted all the panels. I painted all the chrome red, just to be different because everybody usually leaves them just solid chrome. And so I just wanted to be different. So I did the opposite of what I see everybody else do.
Yeah,
it's an older truck. It's a 99. It's not perfect, but it's a work in progress.
Okay.
And that's Tony Justice's signature on my dash from 2023.
Very nice.
He had to redo that because that dash, that is the original from 2019 that was signed by him when this was excessive behavior. That was all flamed and he had signed it, but we had repainted it, so I had him re-signed it in 23.
Okay. And you got an old HUD.
Yeah.
Old HUD riding with you there.
Everybody's bud.
Yeah.
Where's it at? Everybody's bud, little HUD.
Oh, that's cool.
Love that guy.
Yeah, man.
He's a great inspiration to the trucking industry.
Absolutely.
Troy Huddleston's what it was about.
Yeah, yeah.
There wasn't no, he used to tell me all the time, if it wasn't cut, it wasn't custom.
Mm-hmm.
That was his thing.
Yeah. That's right. All the way down to his hats that he wore.
That's right.
Yeah, that's cool. Whose shifter is this?
This is a SH tube shifter, 2.5 inch, I believe, from the floor to the ceiling.
Okay.
You know the deal.
Yep, very cool.
And I believe these are, I don't know who makes these. They were bought here at 75 Chrome Shop inside.
Yeah, that might be a Lee Forney piece.
Is that?
I believe that may be his.
I really like them. They're nice.
Yeah, because he does a bunch of stuff, and he started supplying different places. Whose steering wheel is that over there?
That is Steering Creations. What do they call that? SCI.
SCI, yeah.
Yep.
And these fellas, I met them at Matt's last year. Well, it'll be this year because they're still in 2023.
Great products. I have those on all my keys as well. I like them.
But I can't think of the name. I'll put that up on screen, the name of the company.
I purchased these inside as well at
Yeah.
75. They have a very nice selection in there of all the products.
Okay. Let's go back to the sleeper.
All right.
I'm gonna kick my shoes off and I'll
Yep.
go back there. So tell me about this floor here as I make my way back to the sleeper.
So that's just tile from Home Depot. Me and my buddies did it about 6-8 months ago. We did the floor and the countertop from Home Depot. I put a bigger sink in so that I could wash Scooter without having an issue, and I give Scooter his bath in the sink. And yeah, so the floor matches the countertop.
Okay. I gotta say, that's awesome. Having a bigger sink like that.
Yeah, they're usually real small. It came
Yeah.
with the tiny one, and I couldn't get my dog in there, and he kept having to get in my shower, and I'm not, you know, that's
Sure.
my shower. That's his space, my space.
Yeah, but even for cooking, if you decide to cook and you got some stuff
Yeah.
you gotta clean up, that makes it so much easier in terms of, you know, washing pots or this and so forth. But valid point with Scooter as well.
Absolutely.
So did you just change out the whole countertop, drop a bigger sink in?
Yep. Changed the countertop, put a new stove in. It didn't have a stove. This was just a counter.
Okay.
So I cut the hole, put the stove top in, did the sink bigger. And like I said, here this week, I have been doing all the red suede in the truck. So any piece of this interior that you see that's red throughout the truck, around the back wall, all of this stuff, I've personally done myself here this week. And it's been a feat. But I've been working on it slowly.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we're going to get it done and get it dialed in for Louisville. My plan is to have all of this red, and the top will be black starlit with the stars.
Oh, nice.
So this will be black, this will be black. Anything that's aimed down will be black.
Okay.
You know, the upholstery.
Okay, cool.
So then red, and that's what it'll be when I get to Louisville, hopefully when we're done.
All right. Well, I'm glad I showed up the day that I did, and I didn't show up when everything's torn apart.
Yeah, yeah, because if you just showed up Saturday or Sunday, I had the walls down.
Nice, good timing. Looking down here, I mean,
So
that's
that's my
self-explanatory.
kennel for my pup. You know
That is
what?
cool.
I took I had one cabinet door on it, and I took it off and mounted my kennel lid on it so that my pup could be in there. And in case he has an accident, we've also tiled the floor in his kennel.
Oh, that's cool.
So that way there ain't no smell or,
Yeah.
just in case. But he doesn't have accidents. He's trained 100%.
Very cool. Swinging back here, because I went right in. I'm going to swing the camera around. Tell us about the size fridge that you got there.
So
What's
it's a
going on with that?
full-size fridge for a RV, so to speak, and you get those from ARI, and the same with the microwave oven. And some of the interior, you'll see it's missing pieces on that wall, but that's because it's being redone.
Yep.
And to your right is my shower. You open that door there, and this is a full-size shower and commode. So just shower, commode. I enjoy having it versus going into the truck stops,
Yeah, and it looks like that shower's or the seats turned differently, because some of this showers that I would see, it's almost like you're sharing the space and you're right above the commode.
Yeah.
But this looks like you have a lot of extra space. A larger size guy can get in there and shower without a problem.
It is. And I don't use the commode myself. I don't use that aspect of having the big bunk.
Yeah.
Because it's a process for dumping and going through the chemicals and all that. I don't do that. I use it for the shower.
Okay, there we go. All right.
And then the back, of course, the bed folds against the wall, and there's a couch on each side
Very nice.
for having dinner or whatnot, watch TV, morning news. I like to get up in the morning and watch the news, cook some eggs,
Right on.
and yeah. It's an older truck. Like I said, it's not perfect, but it's homey,
Yeah. No, it absolutely works, and plenty of storage space there behind.
Yeah, I love the cabinets and stuff. I did the cabinetry. It was all a cherry color, like a really bright, slick gloss cherry, and I sanded everything down. That took us like a week to sand all these down, and we restained them with a dark wood stain. I like it a lot better.
Very cool.
I appreciate it. A lot of this stuff we did ourselves. I take pride in doing, it ain't a $500,000 truck, but it's mine.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of it myself,
Yep,
and I
put
take
your
pride
hands
in
on
that.
it.
Yep.
Absolutely. So, looking at this pretty slick stove top, when it comes to cooking in the truck and everything like that, I mean, there's windows right there, but what do you do to keep the odors at bay? if you decide to
You
come
know,
up here.
definitely leave the windows open, and there's also a ventilation system with the air conditioner up top that you could turn the fan on. It's like an attic fan. It'll suck everything out, and it has filters you have to keep changed and all that good stuff.
Nice. I didn't know that they work that way.
Absolutely. It's just like an attic fan. You could turn it on and crack the window, and it'll bring a breeze right through.
All right, cool. So I'll be right back with the oil and the chicken, so we can get some fried chicken going. No, that was just a joke, obviously. I'm more of a steak kind of guy.
Me too.
Maybe up in here grilling steaks and everything. Well, I tell you what, this has been really awesome to get a closer look at the truck and everything else. I appreciate again taking the time to do that. There could be other things that you could be doing. You could be getting down the road, getting to where you need to go. But hopefully all the folks that are watching this and know you or have gotten to know you appreciate this extra time as well.
Well, we appreciate you letting us be a part of it, and looking forward to seeing everybody in 2025. Get them rides looking right. We'll see you at the shows.
Sounds good. All right, folks. I'll see y'all later.